Hello, my name is Laura Rose of Rose Coaching. I am a small business owner like you, and I have been involved in BNI for close to 2 years now. BNI, as well as most successful business people, will tell you that the number one rule to success is to show up. To be successful in BNI and in business, BNI membership requires that we regularly attend the weekly referral and business meetings. If you miss 3 meetings, BNI will invite you to step away from membership until your time management and priorities are better aligned with BNI group referral goals. To help us make those meetings, we can use representatives or substitutes to take our place at the meetings we need to miss. This presentation reviews some effective ways to use our substitutes not only to build our own BNI chapter, but to build our business as well. Originally, this was an interactive discussion group. We normally held it at the Team Nimbus Center. Bill Davis, he's a great business coach, and he's offered that space for us to have these meetings. But we're trying something a little bit different. BNI and I really want people to have access to this material at their convenience. So we're actually videotaping this presentation for your free download, and you can listen to it. And what I'd like to offer is for those that have listened to the presentation, email me or Steve Hand to let us know if you want to have a group interactive chat session on this material. We're going to wait until at least 6 to 8 people are interested in having a networking interactive discussion on this material, and we'll set up a teleconference and chat session, and we'll have that conversation. At least you'll know that you'll have at least 6 to 8 people to interact and network with in this particular teleconference meeting. I'm also offering a 30-minute one-on-one coaching session to anybody that's interested in some follow-up information in finding time to network, how to make more effective use of substituting, how to invite people to your BNI chapters, as well as some other topics that you want to talk about. Okay. Normally we would go around the room and ask this question. Since this is not an interactive discussion, some of the typical questions I get is that, I'm forever inviting visitors to my BNI chapter and they just don't show up, or when I need a substitute, nobody's available. So those are the things that we're going to talk about today. Some effective ways to do that. Some quick questions. Most of us want our BNI chapters to grow. Even though we have a pretty good size, BNI chapter size, we may have some empty seats that are specifically aligned with your particular business, your power team group. We may have a lot of the finance power team filled out, but maybe your personal services is pretty empty, and that's where you fall into personal services. So the power team group is a group of business owners that share the same target client base. For instance, the mortgage broker and a real estate person belong in the same financial real estate power team because they can hand off clients towards each other quite easily, but they're not going to be able to hand off a client to perhaps a personal service group like a chiropractor or somebody like that. So you want to have somebody, your particular power core team seats filled, so you can use your substitutes and visitors to fill out that. You want your businesses to grow. If you're sitting in BNI and you have no interest in wanting your business to grow, you're probably not the right BNI membership client at this time. If you're not interested in growing your business, you probably shouldn't be in BNI right now. Want your networking relationships to go beyond those we meet. BNI is a great referral networking group. You meet the people in BNI, but your influence doesn't stop at that person. They are going to take your expertise and knowledge and business interest to the people that they know as well. So you want to build working relationships to go beyond just the people you're meeting. So this is a great way to multiply and clone yourself to be at more than one place at a time. So I want us to get out of the mindset that substitutes are only used to avoid absence or absenteeism or a black mark against your name. What networking does and substitutes does is that it actually builds relationships. People do build business with people that they know, like, and trust. So you start building a tool or a pool of substitutes. You keep asking people to be your substitute. They get to know more and more about your business, and you're building those relationships. Even though you possibly never ask them to be a substitute at your BNI meeting, you're still building that relationship by asking them to substitute for you. Inviting visitors to increase membership in your BNI meeting. This is a great way to ask somebody for their help to substitute for you, and it's another way of inviting a visitor to BNI and exposing them to not only BNI but to every member in your BNI team and their business and relationship building. Okay? Allowing others to meet and refer, even if they're not a BNI member or they're at this time not ready to join the BNI chapter, they would be open to meet other business people, to have one-on-ones with other people to enhance their business relationships. So this is another opportunity for them to network, whether they buy into the BNI philosophy of giver's gain, or they can't afford the BNI membership price right now, or they can't afford the weekly commitment as well as the outside one-on-one meetings. That's up to them, but at least you're giving them an opportunity to get introduced to the BNI concepts as well as other small business owners. The majority of the BNI chapters have at least 16 members and as many as 40 members for them to meet. So it's just another flavor of networking. So the next slide is the best thing to cloning. You want to pick the people that will substitute for you, the people that actually know your business. You don't want to just pick somebody off the street or maybe a sister that's convenient. That person you really want to pick somebody that's going to make your business look good, that know your business, know your client type, know the people that you're looking for. So you want to think about people, perhaps your clients. They know what you do. They know the quality of your work. They would be a great substitute person for you. Even your competition, that your competition knows your business. They can effectively describe what you do. You want to create your substitute list and continually check and modify it. And you want to probably keep your list between 6 and 8 to 10 people long on your pool. You don't want just 1 or 2 people on your list because in a case of emergency, you call those 2 people and they may not be available for that particular day that you need a substitute. If you have a deep list to go through, you've got 9 people on that list, 10 people on that list, it's more likely that you're going to be successful in finding somebody that has an open spot in their calendar to sit in for you on that particular day. Okay. Where do you find them? You find them everywhere. You use this as a networking opportunity. You're standing in line in the grocery store and you're having a conversation and you bump into somebody that's starting their own business. This would be a great way to bring up the idea of substituting for you in a networking environment. You're going to a training seminar or a networking event. This would be a great idea to keep in mind that, hey, I'm keeping an eye out for somebody that I can add to my substitute list. Going to a sister BNI chapter, going to a visitor's day. Anytime you go to anywhere and you meet people, keep in mind, hey, would this person be an effective substitute or representative for me? Another way is to keep in mind reciprocation. Why would they do this for you? Especially if they're a stranger, you just met them, why would they go out of their way to represent you at a BNI meeting? Well, give them a token of appreciation. Maybe buy them lunch. Take them on a one-on-one meeting with you during lunchtime so you can share your experiences and refer each other. Take them to lunch or breakfast. If your BNI meeting is actually taking place at breakfast or lunch, pay for their breakfast or lunch on there. Bring referrals to them. Offer to substitute for them in their various networking events. An important thing is a lot of people suggest, well, I tell my people, my visitors or substitutes, that here's an opportunity to meet 15 other small business uh, owners, for you to network and work with. While that I think that is a good idea, I don't think that's the best idea. You tell people, hey, you get to meet 60 other people. For me, that's not detail enough. Yeah, that may be 60 great people, but if you were to give me 3 or 4 concrete people that are specifically in my area of expertise, specifically in my Power Core team representative, or specifically can hand off referrals to me, that's worth more to me than saying a general, hey, you're going to get to meet 60 people here. If you can say, hey, I've got 5 people, I've got 3 people here, Joe, Jenny, and Susan, that are dying to talk to a home inspector. They're in real estate, they're in damage repair, they're in construction, and they really want a home inspector on their vendor list. These 3 people are going to be at this meeting on Thursday at 8 o'clock. I've already set up times for them to be on the lookout for you. You can set up some time 15 minutes before the meeting, 15 minutes after the meeting, to have more conversations. But these 3 people actually are going to be at the meeting and they want your business. Chances are that's more incentive for that person to show up at the meeting, whether they're a visitor or a substitute. Use that trick, whether they're a visitor or a substitute, to get them to that meeting rather than just a general, you're going to meet all these people. So think about that trick, as well as combining it with some tokens of appreciation. Okay? Now, we need to acknowledge that BNI, even though we love BNI, we get a lot out of it, BNI isn't for everybody. We talked a little bit about, they may have some issue with the membership fees. Maybe it's a little too high for them right now. Maybe they can't do the time commitment, the every week 90-minute weekly time commitment at that particular time, or the meetings in between. It may not be right for them, but they may be happy to substitute for you in a meeting or two. It gets them the exposure without that underlying commitment. And it also starts building a relationship with them, with the people in the group, also with you too, because when you want to have somebody substitute and represent you, you want to have a one-on-one meeting with this person. You want to better know their requirements for referrals. You want them to understand your requirements for referral. You want them to better understand your business goals, and what distinguishes you from your business than your competitors. So, set up a one-on-one just because you're interested in them. And then as you get to know them, if you feel that they would be a good representative for you, ask if they would be interested in going on your substitute pool list. The time that you need them, they may not be available, but at least, get their okay to be on that pool, get their permission to call upon them in future months. Also, we talked about this. Actually, take the time to line up potential referrals for them ahead of time. Show them a positive result for them actually showing up to the meeting. You get to meet these 3 people or these 5 people that are very interested in your particular business. Keep an eye out on trade shows, home expos, and hobbies, places that you're already going to. If you have a mindset of, hey, I'm going to go to this place with the mindset of keeping an eye out for appropriate substitutes, you're going to walk away with a list of substitutes. If you just go in willy-nilly without a particular goal in mind, chances are you're not going to come out with a substitute list. So come up with some goals ahead of time. The other idea is to leverage other BNI partners. You may be going to sister BNI groups, and there's some people may frown upon asking other BNI members to substitute for you. There are some reasons for this. The reasons to invite visitors and BNI visitors and substitutes to your BNI chapter is to, number one, build your BNI chapter. And if they're already a member in another BNI group, they already belong to a chapter. So the advantage of them coming to your BNI group is a little bit limited. They can't, your chapter can't look upon them as an opportunity to grow. So that's kind of a reason why people see that as a secondary level of substitute. If you can't find somebody new to come and substitute for you, then a co-BNI member from a different group or somebody that you met in the BNI educational program, they are a great, stand-in for you. But the whole idea of having a substitute, full advantage is having somebody new that's not affiliated with another BNI chapter, so they could possibly be interested in being a BNI chapter member. But there's nothing wrong with inviting another BNI chapter member to substitute for you. It's just it doesn't give you the full bang for your buck, that's all. But on the other hand, you can share and exchange substitute ideas with your co-BNI members or sister BNI members. They need a substitute and you need a substitute. Maybe pull your list together and they may have some ideas for you on who would be a great substitute for you. And at critical times when the people on your list aren't available, maybe you can have an agreement to call Charlie and see who's available on their substitute list and vice versa. So it could give you an exponential growth in your substitute pool list. So that's something to think about. Also, some BNI members, they were members in the past, they are great substitute people for you. They may no longer be a BNI member, but they would enjoy coming back to your chapter, revisiting the group, and represent you in your time of need. So think of people that you already know that you've already worked with. We talked about using this idea of substitutes and keep it in your mindset when you do your everyday activities, when you go to your other professional organizations. If you're an attorney, you have your legal association, keep an eye out for having a substitute come from your other law associations, your engineering associations, your quality associations. The people in accounting have their own networking groups. Pull this idea and bring that to those networking groups as well. You're already attending those meetings. Just bring that substitute goal list with you when you go to those next meetings. Okay, what are some good substitutes for you? Well, people that are already a complement to your service. They already know your service. They already understand your client base. We talked a little bit about, for instance, if you're a carpet cleaner and you do great work with the mold and remediation people or the disaster repair person, you've got the same client base. Those people would be great substitutes for you at a BNI meeting. If you're a mortgage broker, a real estate person would be a great substitute for you. Somebody that complements you, that has the same client base, coming from your same power core team. Your client would be a great substitute for you. They know your services, they know the quality of your work, and they can actually give you a testimonial as well. Even your competitor is a good substitute. They know your trade like the back of their hands because it is their trade too. You don't have to worry about the people in your BNI group giving this guy referrals because they're going to give you their referrals first. But you may be able to offer your competitor another seat in a different BNI chapter. So there could be some things for a competitor to get exposed to BNI as well. Okay, so we talked about this earlier. Even if the person doesn't have time for a weekly commitment, you can just talk up the people that they can meet there, set up some one-on-ones to get them to know a couple people in their power team, it could still be an advantage to them, and they still would love the added advantage of meeting visitors and other people in that meeting. Okay? Leverage what you've already done in the past. Don't forget the folks that have been past and previous BNI members. Those are great people to be your substitute. They know you, they know your work, they know what business you were in. They can step in and be your substitute. We talked a little bit about sharing your pool, with appropriate permission, share the names on your list with other BNI members outside your chapter, maybe within your chapter and your other networking groups. This is an idea from Steve Hand. He goes out of his way to, when he needs to miss a meeting, he invites 3 substitutes to sub for him, just in case one may have car trouble, another one may have an emergency coming up, and he wants to really assure that somebody's going to be at that meeting representing him. So, maybe make sure you invite 2 or 3 people to substitute and be a visitor for you on the day that you're going to miss. Another idea is to have your chapter have a Bring Your Substitute Day. This allows the substitute to be inundated with the BNI process, be familiar with standing up and telling them your 60-second spiel, things like that, before they're really in the hot seat. So it gives them a relaxed environment to meet the BNI group without actually being your substitute. And I suggest that if your BNI chapter does decide to do a Bring Your Substitute Day, it's a great filler for a Visitor's Day. It's the same as a Visitor's Day, but you have a specific purpose for inviting those substitutes. And it doesn't count for the substitute as a Visitor's Day, because the new person can only visit twice within a 6-month period. But if you have a Bring Your Substitute Day, you don't count that as a Visitor's Day. You don't count that as a day-to-day visitor. They still have 2 days in which they can visit the BNI group without being a member. So make sure you make that clear with your chapter. Okay? And then just brainstorm with other people. Find out how they were able to get their substitutes to show up for them. Another thing is keep that list alive. Don't stick that name on that list, and 9 months later when you need them, give them a call. Okay? They may no longer be in that business anymore. They may not even remember your name, kind of stuff. So you want to continually revisit that list. Think about that list as another networking list. Those are the people that you want to keep in contact. You want to keep you on their radar. You want to make sure they know who you are. They know what kind of business you are. They can continually refer business to you, even though you haven't called them as a substitute. So you want to keep that list alive. You want to keep your name on their radar. You also want to prepare your substitute. I've been asked to substitute for somebody, and then they never give me their 60 seconds. So I'm showing up at a BNI meeting unprepared. I don't know what to say about this person. I do okay, because what I end up doing is, fessing up that I don't have a 60 seconds for this person, and I open it up to the people in the coaching, in the BNI group, to coach me. Okay, what can you tell me about this guy? And then they actually give the 60 seconds. But you don't want to really put your substitute in that uncomfortable position of creating your 60 seconds for you. So really prepare them for you. And they won't do a very good job if they're not prepared. And then have them attend at least one meeting before you really need them. And the best way to get them excited about being your substitute is already match them up with some potential good conversations and good referrals. Give them the incentive to show up and to network. And then keep building that relationship with your substitute. Don't look at this as just somebody that's gonna pitch hit for you. You use that opportunity to actually network, build a relationship with that particular person, get them to know, like, and trust you. This is a potential client of yours. Okay? Keep a substitute tracking list. going. Keep a contact list. When was the last time they substituted for you? When was the last time you contacted them? Use this as any other lead generating utility. And reciprocate. Offer something for the substitute's time. Really value and appreciate their time. We talked about this a couple of times. Line up people for them to talk to, either whether it's inside the BNI group or outside the group. Combine it with visitors. If you want to line up 3 people to substitute for you, maybe those 3 people have something in common. Maybe those 3 people are in the same power team. And the reason for them to show up at the meeting is to meet these other 2 visitors you have in mind. Present them with a token of appreciation. Maybe you can give them a gift certificate of your services if that's appropriate. Maybe even give them a gift certificate of somebody else's services if that's appropriate. Buy their lunch and do a one-on-one with them. Reimburse them for their breakfast at the meeting, something like that. Send them business is another way to reciprocate. So brainstorm with others on how you see somebody that's very successful in getting substitutes. Brainstorm with them on how they've been successful in the past. Okay, so we're at the end of this particular presentation. But once again, I'd love to talk about your ideas on finding substitutes and how to more effectively use them in your business as well as for your BNI chapter. So give me a call or an email at laurarose@rosecoaching.info. Send me your email address. The moment I get at least 6 to 8 responses on this, we will set up a teleconference or a chat session. You need to review this material first, and then we'll have maybe a 15 or 20-minute chat session on how to best use the material that you've collected and to exchange ideas and brainstorming ideas amongst the people that are on this call. So what I want to do is make sure there's enough people on the call to benefit the people that are on the call. So that's why I'm collecting names, so that we have at least 6 to 8 people exchanging information and brainstorming. So once again, my name is Laura Rose from Rose Coaching, and be free to give me a call or email me for additional 30-minute one-on-one session on this stuff, or to just give me your email address so that I can call you up or contact you later for a chat or teleconference on people that are interested in discussing this in more detail. Thanks again, and have a very prosperous and inspired day.